I was 19, I had the great fortune of working with some extraordinary leaders. And ever since then, I've been in pursuit of the recipe for what made them successful, what made them extraordinary. And I wanted to tell you a story today about my pursuit of that recipe, but I thought it'd be good to kind of start at the beginning. That's how all good stories start. And you probably can see, and maybe it's not obvious, that I was not recruited for D1 football. But I was in the next best thing. I was with the cool kids in the band. But the really cool kids, because I was a drummer. And so because I couldn't play professional football, I thought, well, I'm going to major in music. So I had a chair at the University of Florida, but I had parents that had no money, and I wasn't good enough to get a scholarship. So I did what everybody did post-Vietnam era. I went to the Army recruiter and said, I want to be in the Army band. And they all looked at each other, kind of laughed, and went, okay. So they flew me on a plane, first plane ride ever for my audition. And on the way back, I had this epiphany that I was a good musician, but I wasn't great. So I get off the plane, I say to the recruiter, I'm not doing it. And he's like, because he had a quota. And I said, but I really liked flying on that airplane. I think I'd love to jump out of planes and be a paratrooper. And I love medicine, whatever the best medic program is in the Army. I'm all about that. I'll save up for college. And he goes, well, you need to go Special Forces. That's the best medics. And I said, no, Sergeant Fleener, I don't want to be a military policeman. And he goes, no, Special Forces is not the MPs, it's the Green Berets. And he showed me this brochure. Big bicep guys. I weighed at the time, not 114, but 101. And I said, Sergeant Fleener, I can't do that. And he said, yes, you can. And I believed him. He said, one problem, you have to gain 2 pounds, you have to weigh 103, get a waiver, so that when you jump out of planes, you don't hit the side. So I started pumping iron and drinking Joe Weider weight gain and got up to 109. They signed me up January my senior year. 2 weeks after graduation, I went in at 17, weighing 114. I'm a massive 135 now. So anyway, the point of it is I made it through, and what was interesting is the whole concept of cold, wet, tired, and hungry. And that the fact that there were so many people that quit. And I was very curious about why was I making it and guys that looked like the brochures weren't. And the cold, wet, tired, and hungry revealed character. And suffering and adversity and crises revealed character. And I thought, I wonder if that's the secret. If someone's aptitude for adversity is really what makes a leader. So that's where my curiosity started. I spent 25 years in the business world, and what I found was sometimes it would take 2 years before a crisis developed where I could see people's true character. And I thought, gosh, this is so much harder than the military, because in the military I could take people to the woods, and in 2 hours I know what I've got. I know what the team's made of. And in business world it's hard. So when I started doing the work I'm doing now, I said, boy, wouldn't it be cool if I can combine leadership development in the wilderness, a little bit of cold, wet, tired, and hungry, to see what happens. So we developed this program, and at the same time we're getting a lot of special operations folks that were transitioning out, and I thought, gosh, what if I combine these two types of mindset out there, one that's comfortable out in the woods and one that's not, but one that's trying to get comfortable in the business world, one that is, and what would happen? And you know, one of the things that we did is, you know, we took this group to Patagonia recently, and one of the recipes that we were trying to figure out was how do we accelerate team development and team performance down there. And secondly, we've always been taught that we should be respected, not liked. Liked is a bonus, a cherry on top, but you need to work to be respected. And we were challenging that a little bit, and we said, what role does being liked or being kind play in leadership? So 12 guys go to Patagonia, half special operations, active duty, and a few recent veterans, and half executives. And we go down there with really trying to figure out how do we accelerate team development. And there was 2 things that happened that were really interesting. One is we got to a point on the glacier, and there was a lot of wind, and and we're stopped for a break, and this is 50 pounds on our back, crampons, roped up, 8-9 hours a day, you're tired, the sun's beating down on you, and we get to this point, we're resting, and this guy goes, you know what, Jan, we're at the Poner. The Poner? He goes, yep, we're at the point of no return. He goes, 3 days that way, 3 days that way. The wind's so bad a chopper couldn't get in to save us. I'm like, holy crap. You're right. I mean, anybody gets sick, it's bad. But at the same time, I went, the Poner, the point of no return. Stakes are really high. Nobody's complaining about anything. They're just worried about each other. I mean, it's not life or death like combat, but it was life or death. I mean, we had to take care of each other. You had to be all in, you're committed. You're at a point of no return, and I thought, gosh, can we do that in the business world? Can we create a point of no return? Well, one of the things that the soldiers always make comments about is, boy, we spend 99% of our time training, 1% doing. You guys in the business world spend 99% of your time going 90 miles an hour, and you never look around and take a break and step back. So you can't create a point of no return all the time. It has to be a series of steps and milestones. Just like every day, we had objectives that we hit, and we stayed focused on those objectives, knowing there was a long-term objective. So that was something really important. The other thing, at one point, a CIO made an observation, and he goes, Jan, I think I figured it out. You know, this team came together really fast, but it came at its own speed. He goes, I think there's a terminal velocity to the development of a team. Terminal velocity is, the way I know it is, when you're falling out of a plane, the fastest you can go is 120 miles an hour. You can't go faster. But he said, because team development is based on trust and relationship, and I think you can speed that up, but I think there's a point where you have to have an element of time. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. So, you know, there's 120,000 books on Amazon that have the title leadership, the word leadership in the title. There's almost 400,000 that have teamwork in the title. If there was a recipe, I think there would be one book. And what I'm realizing is the complexity of humans and the dynamic, that whenever we put teams together, it's going to always be different. But what we also learned was there was 3 things that we've done on these that I think play a role in the successful outcome of the team. And it's sort of to see in SEA. One, we pay very careful attention to the selection of the people that go. At the same time, we select, we tell them why they were selected, which creates an expectation of behavior, what we expect. And one of those big things is we before me. That's the expectation. And every evening, we debrief. We talk about the day. And what that does is allows us to review what happened, and it allows the team to hold each other accountable. There's shared accountability. It's not one single person. If you were to be on one of these expeditions, you'd be hard-pressed to figure out who is really in charge. Because what's remarkable is with these collaborative teams is different people step up at different times based on their expertise, based on the situation. But everybody is a good follower. Everybody is a good teammate. Everybody is selfless. And partly because we select for it, but I think more importantly because we tell people you were selected because you are selfless. It is an expectation. So what we really concluded with all that when it comes to accelerating team performance, and what we really believe is if you want to go fast, you go alone, and if you want to go far, you go together. That's it.